Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sanam, for introducing us to the forum here. I just want to give you some background about me and VisionWaves, with this journey here is. We've been working with telcos for the last 12 years. As part of our last journey, this company called Innoai, and that company was doing automation work across pretty much from physical native functions, virtual native functions, cloud native functions, and that journey took us to Telefonica, UK, Germany, and Reliance Jio was building the platform. We were a core part of the platform. And when Rapid Symphony guys were trying to do the whole new generation of ORAN and the piece, we were the core technology piece into this whole process. We have sold a company to Rapid Symphony a couple years back. So we're back here learning what we learned in the last couple of years. We use a lot of open sources into our operations in there, but a few weeks back, Sana introduced us to Nephio, and we've been working with both Intel, Aramco Digital, and TELUS in the journey today. And we've been doing a lot of work into different areas, and we are much more of a user of Nephio rather than anything else. So I'll share with the platforms we're building and the perspectives we have, at least what we have done, some of these things to the technology we're building. This is core of what VisionWaves is doing, is basically we're using GenAI part of it, because we were part of automation journeys. We were doing a lot of this work with the AI part of it today, with the technology of LLMs, the models, the RAGs, and the SLMs and LLMs, which is getting a lot of hype in there. We're trying to see is how we can use those ones to help someone who's deploying the network and managing the network in the process in accelerated fashion. I will pick up some of these ones here. So our platform is called X01. The focus of the platform is based on taking multiple data sets and the queries from your taking your intents, the thoughts to actions. So we want to take what exactly the intent of the user is from their simple to complex queries in simplified fashion and try to help them out in the process. And this can take it. So we presented at different forums at CLD. The same platform we use for delivering network use cases, enterprise use cases. So the variability of this thing goes across different use cases in this dimension. And you can see the screen. This is like a single I'll show you a couple of videos on the use cases we have. Basically, as soon as we consume the data on the platform, we have the models for those ones can build multiple racks using telco data. That's what we're trying to do is how do we analyze that data and keep on building the structure in which the responses can be done in a stable and accurate way and in a consistent fashion, because that's part of hallucination and other stuff which we have been working into this journey here. The part of Nephio which we started exploring was how exactly you deploy. So we took Nephio and deployed on our Google public cluster, I think within 24 hours. So I would say what information we got, we could deploy the platform pretty quickly, and then we said how exactly we can simplify that journey there in the platform. Use cases on these ones are from deploying the network, changing of formats from Helm to KPTs, modifying those ones, and we did a complete plug-and-play provisioning for Intel Vivo platform, which is a private 5G using platform here in the process there. So I'll share a couple of use cases here. These use cases are going from NLP use cases, from going how to build a Helm chart to define hydration of the helps in the process here, how exactly we can keep on running. Because most of the service providers we go in, we see the biggest issue they face is how exactly we can collect that data to populate these helms, which vendors are bringing in, onboarding of those parts in the process here. This becomes one of the biggest problems they have, and we're trying to solve that part of the journey, including Nephio and the part wherever we go for the orchestration automation journey. These becomes critical piece of this infrastructure. So we use Nephio APIs in there, and these the intent-based provisioning, which is actually was done with Intel in this journey here. So first one is basically Helm builder. Basically, it will take a Helm chart, and the interaction is going to be with the assistant here. The video here for you guys. Everything is slightly further there. Is basically, it is goal is to take that large language model and automating the whole Helm chart creation in the process and modification for the plan. So basically, you can create a project. You can create a project as soon as you define the project name and the description there. It will look at the first structure will be created for that one. And after the first structure with the Helm template, you can keep on having a conversation with the platform. So basically, the initial Helm chart was created using the part of all the different structure, where the pieces came into the source structure. And now we will go to the AI system and we will say this, I want certain things done through this Helm chart as you're speaking. So we're taking the complexity out for someone to understand how exactly some of these pieces, where exactly they need to embed certain data, understand the dependencies of these ones in the process. So we're basically saying is, I want to change these values, show me the differences where you make the changes. It will not only make the changes, but it will reflect the changes which was done into the process here. So you can look at both the before and after version of those things into the process. And as we go, we keep on learning from this infrastructure in this process. So we'll show the differences there, and the same add some other additional values for variable names in this one, so to find where exactly in the chart these things will go in. It will go update, and anytime we put any changes there, they will accept or reject these changes in the process there. So user has the choice every time we are generating the code for that help to be embedded there. That part gets in there in that journey. Basically saying it's now Istio virtual service needs to be added. So if the user understands what exactly he's trying to accomplish, you can keep on speaking. If you look at the queries which you are asking the AI system to do, it's interpreting them, figuring out what exactly the data within is prepared, what structure it's made to create, and starts keep on progressively keep on updating your helps in this process. I think the next one is from the hydration of the templates in there. Basically, what it will do is based on the location, site geography information, like suppose the IPs are there, inventory data is there, the relationships are there. If you look at the underlying data structures on the back of it, because it's looking at both the structured and structured data language models in there for the hydration of the Helm charts into the processor. So first we saw the Helm chart that we created, now doing the hydration of these terms. And this was done like when we talked to Sana, it was like 48 hours from time we got initially. So this was not done, like huge time was spent on these ones. Once we started putting these ones together, these things starting defining how exactly we can, the data sets are there, we can learn from the underlying infrastructure how exactly specific elements can be hydrated in the process. Let's pick up a Helm chart already there. Pick up that GC part of this one. So I think once from Nephio project only. If the UPF plant is to be deployed on this specific data center, can you please put the network parameters accordingly, and it will start generating those parameters based on the underlying systems integrations. So there is on the back of it is API orchestration, which is there for the underlying systems. We can even look at, so a couple of examples we've shown later down the line is no Nephio APIs, but we can look at any structured APIs which are available. So we can discover the APIs. We can know how to call those APIs in the process here to build that structure of that data hydration in part of the ecosystem. So all you look at all the network data which was there for those IP structures, and these ones we can populate this with the location. We can integrate the IPAM servers, the configurations, IP configs in those parts of in the process. It's going to check what host names, what the naming conventions related performances there is. It will change those values into different files associated with it. As I said, every time we change, user can accept or reject. We have put that change for now, where there is a checkpoint. We can even remove those checkpoints as we go along this journey in the process. We did plug and plug, if you recommend simply the part I just talked about, we did close like 100 plus CNS and VNS part of it. So we understand different vendors, different helps, different structure, both from VNF and CNF perspective. So we are taking that journey and learning which we have. And most of the customers which are working at least in ORAN space, like Mavenir, LTS Star, Cisco, and other stuff, we work with pretty much every one of them into understanding that part. So that's what we bring to Nephio part of it as we learn. So that's why we start exploring some Nephio APIs. We still find them not deep enough yet. So what we found today, we started using those APIs, or if the APIs on the top of it are there, we can build a lot of different structures on top of it. Use case, basically, you can do a compliance check of your Helm charts in the process of created, we hydrated. You can do a compliance on those, the part of it where you can define some of these are rules, some of these are discovery, what Helm worked, what they failed. So we keep on learning on that part of it as the data progresses into that journey. So not only you will find that one, you can say what all, so it becomes a suggestion now. First part is finding the compliance. And says what exactly it needs to do to make sure it's compliant with the best practices there into the processor. So as soon as you put compliance there on that one, it will generate the compliance based on rules and AI and the learning parts of this Helm or this structure there. And it will suggest that as the next one is what you can do to fix those ones in the process. It's identifying the files that exactly this needs to change in the simple subject. You see, there was a rule that saying is should not be hard coded, which found hard coded saying you need to update these files, update that infrastructure into the process. And it will suggest this change again, saying is you can go ahead and change those infrastructure piece of it. The goal is to simplify that part of like the most difficult part of deployment is. One part is like understanding the structures. How do we simplify this thing for vendors to come on board, work with each other into these ones where service providers can much more easily use open source platforms into this conversation. So this can become a tooling to project like Nephio as we go along. It needs still like maturity of understanding how exactly we're still too early in the conversation to understanding Nephio project from our perspective. Basically, fix that particular part of it, ran the compliance again. So we can keep on iterating that for behavior. We can push that change. This is just to reflect some of the use cases there in the process. This is what's on KPD generation. This is the Nephio part of it. We took the Helm charts and converted them to KPD files. And so automatically it will, as soon as you upload Helm chart, it will generate your KPD files and put all the structures there in the process. Wait for this. Just convert this thing to KPD structure. It will create those files. You can look at the specific structures. If there are issues, you can change, you can update part of it. So the whole transposing from one structure to another structure, you don't need to understand any of those ones from a user perspective of these platforms. And we can move between different formats wherever there is required to use this form. Compare exactly the differences are there in the process. as I showed before, like you can keep on hydrating, you can add values into the structures, just showing how exactly we're done the same thing that we do for structure. This is what we did with Nephio integration. We didn't find much APIs for now. What we found was listing of repository, adding of repository. So we took the Nephio APIs, we integrate those APIs to our install, build a repository on this one using the GNN interfaces. We went to the package, we looked at the repositories which were there, we use the APIs in the infrastructure. So we've done a lot of API orchestration using other platforms. We have just put our hand to a couple of APIs only found for Nephio for now. And we said, okay, let's show how exactly they can be called for generic offered rather than third-party placement. So if you look at analyze those queries, we can work with structured, non-structured, any of those data in the process here. This is all the repository which comes into the structure here and create a new repository. We talk about create a new repository, so a custom repository there. Each of the query which you do actually is works because on the back of it is Mistral, Llama 2, we can use OpenAI. So we have used different kind of LLMs and the RAGs we have built with different parameters, each of it in there for different query sets in our journey here. And that allows us to do different part of it which can generate forms. The inputs are required into the process here. Whatever the requirement was for that particular submission and the form will generate from the same interface. You see the new repo, the last came in through the GenAI interface. Last use case of this one, which we have done. This is what we have done with Intel Vivo platform into our journey with this one to give you the whole extent of what the possibilities lie into this whole thing is. We took Vivo platform and we took their planning data, what all needs to be deployed. And we said how we can do the network function provisioning into the code part of it. We ran like for day 2 zeros. Basically on the interface, we just saying, is there any enough of CNF needs to be provisioned for it? It will go and find from your planning data what all CNFs or any of the functions which were supposed to be deployed. It will go and look at the infrastructure of your inventory today with underlying components for microservices, functions, which specific servers, which instances which are running. This is all dynamic. We have enhanced the whole infrastructure on top of the ChatGPT interface. That we have put a lot of plugins which we have built ourselves. So you can look at the whole inventory, and actually this is all active. So here in this case, what we're doing is I want to add another PCF directly from this infrastructure. So it will look at the charts, it will deploy all that infrastructure, it will check this part of it. And it is just showing at least it will instantiate that particular PCF, and you can see now the new PCF which was installed dynamically from the infrastructure. We can do the similar kind of integrations on top of Nephio and other parts of it there with the APIs other structure. So if you look at the right side of this thing, there is all the day 0 configurations were done from value YAML generations to Helm files. On the right side, we are doing all the iterations, and depending on which specific servers, where exactly we're provisioning, what values we need to go, and each of the steps actually have detailed request response on each one of them, showing the whole complete life cycle here in the process. Basically, it shows all the processes there into the process. Piece of it, like all the configurations are done, and you can see what request was sent, what response was received in any of these ones. So we're taking the complexity out of that infrastructure. we have similar use cases we have done, day one, day those use cases. So as soon as this is done, you will be able to see the current piece of technology and this part will be there from the new piece of the installed. Please, that's what I was trying to cover today was showing you how exactly GenAI piece can work with Nephio and others. We have experimented a little with Nephio as we speak today. We have taken their APIs, we install a platform, we take the Helm charts from there, try to see how we can build those ones, hydrate those ones, convert KPD files for those ones. That's what we've done in like maybe 8-10 days. So from our perspective, we could use the platform much more effectively. But there's a lot more work I think needs to be done on the API side of it for us to like, go more deeper and develop more use cases. That's pretty much it from my side. Any questions? Sure.
Thank you, really appreciate it. We're not going to contribute all these things to Nephio. So we will take like a few minutes break.